Hey guys, Thiru here. If you guys remember, like a few months back, I was reviewing this particular product called the CheerPod from the CheerTok company. Basically, it was really cool to see how a company was working on a new piece of tech that could be an all-in-one solution for presentations, mouse and trackpad and all that kind of stuff. They now have a new product and it's called the CheerTok. This video is basically about the benefits of the CheerTok or the features of the CheerTok and some small problems that I had with it. Let's get to it. The initial product, CheerPod, had a mouse and trackpad combined into this small little silver brick that you could bring anywhere, connect it via Bluetooth and charge it using USB-C. This is a little different. This doesn't have that mouse feature, but it's an all-in-one trackpad and it's really good. Before I go into the details, let's talk about the specs. CheerTok has already raised $300K in funding for their product on Kickstarter and it will probably ship out in the May of 2022. This does cost about 59 USD per piece and that's about 80 Singapore dollars. So if you guys want one, make sure to hit the link down in the description below. It's an affiliate link. It would be a great help if you guys want to get one. Now the first thing about the CheerTok is that it's really light. It's about 40 grams and it's only about 7 cm by 3 cm and 1 cm thick. So it's really small, it fits nicely into the hand and it's like almost like holding a pager if you have ever held a pager. It's of course got Bluetooth 5.0, which means you can actually use it from really far away. And I think that's one of the main features that the CheerTok has in terms of using any of your devices from a distance. It's also got a 200 mAh battery life and it's USB-C charging, which is always great. Now CheerTok claims that the CheerTok can last about up to 20 days or even more. So I think if you charge it once, it will probably last that long if you're just using it for normal scrolling and just input gestures and all that. But if you're really going ham on the laser pointer and also using the shortcuts feature, which I'll talk about later, then you might kind of grind down on the battery life. So I think just for the safety of it, charge it like every week. The device is of course compatible with almost all the devices out there. Any device that you want to use it on, this can work. It can even work with the TV if your TV has Bluetooth, or you can actually get their dongle accessory, but that's I think an additional 40 USD. Now let's take a look at the design. It's a really simple design and like I said, it fits into your hand like a pager. It's got a silver look. The silver look itself gives that, you know, MacBook feeling and it looks very professional and simple. Similar to the previous one, but I think the material on this is better. I'm not sure if they changed the material, but it definitely looks better than the first CheerPods. And then it's got, of course, that large area for a trackpad in the center and it's got an indicator LED at the top of that trackpad. Now below the trackpad, you can see that huge home button. And below that is the volume button. That's not for the volumes on the CheerTok. There's no sound from the CheerTok, but those volume buttons are for your devices. I think they also recently unlocked a new color on their Kickstarter page, the darker gray version. So if you're one for a darker gray color product, then maybe go for that. Okay, let's talk about the features. Now, first off, the huge trackpad, basically it's a large portion of the device itself. The trackpad is really good, it's sensitive and it's just the right sensitivity. But if you're using something like an ultra-wide, which I tried on my ultra-wide screen, you are definitely going to be spending time moving across the screen. I would suggest if you're going to use this, just use it on your laptop or any smaller device. Of course, the trackpad position is in a vertical distance or vertical position. That's why I'm saying, you know, you have to go quite a few times. You can't just use it sideways. I think it's meant to be used in a holding position like this, and then your thumb is the one that's shifting or moving the track or the cursor. The sides of the trackpad itself have gestures, so it's got all the or most of the gestures that you can have on a trackpad. It's got a pinch in and pinch out gesture, which is for zoom in and zoom out, of course. If you are to move your fingers over the top or follow it down the sides, regardless of the side of the trackpad, you would have scrolling. Technically ambidextrous, so you can use it from both sides, and that's really cool. Of course, if any of the apps have a double tap feature of any sorts, this works as well. But I do have a slight annoyance with the trackpad. In fact, the whole idea of using a trackpad in a small device. If you're surfing on an Android or a Windows, you have a pop-up cursor, basically a mouse, like an arrow mouse. Now, the thing about sliders on this UI, in terms of Windows, Android, and even iOS or iPad OS, you can't just slide the slider based on the side scrolling. You have to first move the cursor to that slider dot, and then you can use the side scroller to shift the slider. Now, this isn't an issue with CheerTok at all. It's more of an issue of the OSs that you are using the CheerTok in. So yeah, if those get fixed by the companies that are in charge of those operating systems, then you have a very good experience with the CheerTok. Next is using this for presentations. I would consider that a feature, right? Presentations itself. I've actually used it for a presentation in my school. You would go into the PowerPoint slides and tapping would switch the slides, or you can actually use the side scrolling to sift through the slides quickly. And the other thing is you can actually immediately use the laser pointer and point at whatever you want to point, and then go back to changing whatever's on the screen. Now, that whole process works really seamlessly. There's no lag in between the laser pointer and going back to the trackpad controls. When I had a video in my PowerPoint presentation itself, there were some issues with the audio, so I had to turn up the volume, and I didn't have to rush to the computer to do that. I just had to use the volume buttons on the side to increase the volume. So it's a whole hands-off experience from the device itself, and you don't really have to worry. Of course, that whole zooming into a certain portion also works. You just have to use your two-finger gestures. Now, the next feature I would say is the idea of using it with a camera. It is very, very useful if you're using it with a camera, especially for content creators like those on TikTok or those, just outdoors, you have a group of people. If you're setting up a camera far away and you want to take photos of yourself or photos of something else, from a distance, you can just use this as a controller. You don't have to buy a proprietary controller for whatever, like your phone camera or your iPad camera or whatever camera. If you want to change your camera settings with you in the frame, I think that's a big help, because most of the times you have to go up to the phone and change the settings. And you can start recording, of course, with the shutter button on the side, basically the volume buttons. If you ever want to take a screenshot of whatever you're doing on your phone as well, you can do that with the same way you take a screenshot on your phone and your iPad. Just have to hold the home button and the down button. Now, this is the major feature that CheerTok mentioned. It is the shortcuts feature. Now, the shortcuts feature is a really, really good idea. You can actually use it for a lot of things, but there is a fundamental flaw with it. Only records the gestures on the device. There is no relation to whatever is on the screen. Okay, so for example, if you want to start recording the gestures, you press and hold and the green light comes on, and then you do whatever gestures that you want to do, like maybe for say, go into TikTok and then change a few filters and start the recording. So the next time you don't have to do all of that, you just have to press. And then you stop recording gestures by pressing the button again. And the next time when you want to use it, you just have to press the function button once, and the green light will start blinking and carry out all the gestures that you recorded. This would work if your mouse pointer was in the exact same position as it was when you started recording the gestures, because it records everything from the trackpad movement to the button presses, and it will execute exactly what you input. So if you are using it in landscape all of a sudden and you were originally recording the gestures in portrait, it's not gonna work. It's probably gonna press into some other application, and it's gonna go haywire, pressing some other buttons and doing some other things, swiping right, swiping left, depending on what gestures you input in. This shortcuts feature is used for very, very specific purposes. Because you can't record multiple shortcuts, there's only one. I think if you're a heavy TikTok user, then you can use it in TikTok, and just maybe you have a particular filter that you just swipe a few times to get into, or there's a particular sound that you need to use. This would be exactly the kind of feature for you to quickly get through that part of the content creation process and get to what you need to say and what you need to do. Now, I also think CheerTok works really, really well with most portable devices, with Bluetooth especially. But I really wish that they had Bluetooth profiles. Like, I'm sure they can fit some form of memory in here that can remember Bluetooth profiles, and you don't have to turn off the Bluetooth in the existing device to connect to it elsewhere. I think that would be a really good move in terms of future works for the CheerTok. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about the CheerTok. Honestly guys, this is a really good accessory for content creators and, you know, people on the go, business people on the go who have a lot of presentations, a lot of things to present to people. Now, of course, if you guys do want to get one of these, make sure to go into the description below and hit that affiliate link and, you know, head over to their Kickstarter page. I think that's a few days left of their campaign, and, you know, just head over there and support them and you'll probably get one in May or June. If you guys have any questions in terms of the Kickstarter itself, please go and ask them on the Kickstarter page. I do not know anything. This is a prototype that they sent me and for me to just, you know, review and give you guys my thoughts. If you guys have any thoughts about the CheerTok and the previous product, the CheerPod, you can leave your comments down in the comment section below. Also, if you guys really like this content and want to see more content like this, make sure to hit the like button and smash that subscribe button. It would be a great help. I'll catch you all in the next one.